My insurance man, is that what they call you?
All right, welcome back to America Armed and Free, the last segment. We're with Tom Paluda. Tom is a farmer's insurance agent, and he's very gun-friendly. In fact, I think if someone invites you out to talk about their gun collection and insuring it, you'll even give them a box of ammo.
I will, actually. If anybody wants to call me, this is for your listeners only, actually.
Okay.
So if any of your listeners today want to get together and just review their policies, I'm happy to do that. There's no obligation, and you get a free box of ammo of your choice. And, yeah, I'd be happy to do that.
Yeah, but you see, what if a guy shoots 45-120? Aren't you going to be pretty up the creek without the paddle?
Well,
you better say any pistol caliber.
Yeah, I'm open.
Yeah, even if it was 454 Casula, you're going to get hosed. But no, you'll get it back in commission. So
well, with a theme song like what
My Insurance Man.
Yeah, that was I'm a professional.
Yeah, there you go. Speaking in professional terms, I was surprised something you said to me off the air, and that is sometimes the best radio does happen off the air, and that is that people, when you've come out, you've seen a lot of really neat collections. Is it your informed opinion, based on being in the insurance business, that we're a pretty well-armed society?
Well, certainly more armed than I initially had expected before I got into this business. Mm-hmm. However, not armed enough, from my opinion. I really honestly, I do wish that I'd seen more people with more guns. There's a lot of people that actually have one or two firearms that do, they're not really gun enthusiasts per se, but they do have home defense, and the couple of $1,000s that their basic policy provides is adequate coverage. But there's certainly a lot of people that have $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 worth of guns, no problem, and reloading equipment, and it's just a pleasure to go out to their houses and see all that. And
I didn't think about it because I don't have an extensive collection. I own less than 20 guns,
mm-hmm.
and I don't have that big a firearms collection. I really don't have anything of collector value at all myself. Everything I have is either for my concealed weapons classes, my personal carry, or for training. I just don't own recreational firearms, and it's not because I wouldn't like to. It's just for me, it's not that practical to do it, so I don't. But I was amazed when I tallied up everything that was in that gun, was in the range, was in the range bag, with the rifle itself, that with the scope and the bag and the stuff, and it was worth $2,200 alone.
Mm-hmm.
And the other things, how fast that claim got up to $7,400, and that was just one auto burglary.
Well, and that's a really good point. I'm glad you brought that up, because a lot of times, one of the things I run into is I'm talking to people, and they'll say, yeah, I've got lots of firearms, $10,000, $20,000 worth of guns, but I have a safe, so I feel protected. Well, unfortunately, you're a great example of what really the reality is. You can have your $10,000, $20,000 worth or $5,000 worth of guns in your safe at home,
mm-hmm.
but when you go to the range or when you go out in the desert and you're going shooting or to a competition, or you're at the grocery store and some yahoo breaks into your car and takes those firearms, oops.
Yeah, oops.
Your safe doesn't help you.
Well, now I have a vault in the back of the car that's bolted into the car.
Good idea.
And the funny thing was, the one gun that's secured in one place in the car, I won't say it on the air where, but that's the one, there were 7 in the car, they got 6. They didn't notice the one that was hidden in plain sight, the one that wouldn't have been secured when all the others are in the vault.
All right, exactly.
So that's the one they missed. And I guess we have a caller. A caller coming in is Nate. Nate, you're live on America Armed and Free with your ringmaster, Charles Heller, and farmer's insurance agent Tom Paluda. Your comment or question?
Just a comment. You're both Tucson businessmen,
yep.
And I'm a disabled guy out here in town. And a few months ago, my next door neighbor got away from home. A tradesman, works lots of hours, and he sleeps when he can. So I hate to bother waking him up. In broad daylight, he had his home broken into through the backyard, and cleaned him out with multiple firearms. And I was very concerned because this is very, very brazen crime. So while I am armed in the house here,
mm-hmm.
I called the police a few days later, and I just said, explain my situation. I said, have there been any action in the way of an arrest?
Yeah.
They would say, do you have the case number or the officer in charge of this case?
Mm-hmm.
Without that, we can't talk to you.
Right. Yeah, that's true. They can't.
Yeah, I just don't understand that. All I wanted to know is if there had been an arrest.
That's the reason is because they have no way of looking it up.
Well, with the I can't imagine, but with the shortness of the crime and the address.
I got news for you. The police do not investigate burglaries.
Yeah, isn't that something?
Well, part of the problem is that their mandates have spread them so thin, and part of the other problem is there are so many laws which the police have to enforce that they really just don't have they don't have the manpower or the resources to enforce them. But burglary, they just don't investigate burglary unless it's a really large commercial burglary. They're not investigated. All they do is file a report.
Yeah. All I wanted to know if there had been an arrest. I can't imagine them not having the computers these days.
No, they can't look at. They have no way of looking it up. They have to look it up by either case number. They could, if they wanted, a person inside the department could look it up by address or by date, but they really don't have a way of doing it. And if they did, they're probably not going to give out information to the public on it.
You know, Nate, you bring up a good point that I just want to throw out there too, and I appreciate your call. And that is that there's, again, the previous guest, there's a lot of people that are doing a lot to defend our freedoms, quite frankly. And more and more, the more that I get involved in this community here in Tucson as far as the freedom goes, I realize how important it is to support the businesses that support the kinds of ideals that I have and the kinds of things I want to accomplish. So, quite frankly, as you mentioned, both Charles and I were business people. I know that I put a certain amount of money towards the cause. I know Charles puts a lot of time and money towards it too. And I would just invite all of your listeners out there, and Nate as well, to kind of evaluate the people you do business with, and if you can get the same good or service from one person or another that is kind of more along the lines of what you would like to see their money supporting, then support that person.
Yeah, do business with the people that support freedom.
Yeah.
Well, I understand that. Tucson Guns made another sale out of the incident for me.
Yep.
There you go.
There, flag that. All right, you have a great day.
Okay.
Thanks, Nate.
So you had an offer going, and I wanted to go ahead and make that offer again. What is it?
Anybody calls up 881-6700 and calls up and has me come out to their house or business, or comes to my office, and we sit down and review their policies and take a look at what coverage they have, and just do a comprehensive review of what their coverages are. I'll give them a free box of ammo of their choice, and so yeah.
That's a pretty cool offer.
Yeah.
I got to say that. Hey, that's a really cool offer. I should have you over, but I have very mundane, pedestrian 40 caliber and 38 caliber firearms. So,
Yeah.
So 308. That's about $30 a box. I could run you broke.
Well,
I don't want it. So, but if you want to, how should you store the records of your firearms? Like, say, for instance, you have your serial numbers written down. We're getting down to the last 2 minutes. What's the best way for people to store the records of their firearms?
That's a great question. Bottom line is, again, keep pictures, serial numbers, proof of purchase. Keep copies at your house if you want, in your own gun safe there. Keep them somewhere else too, either at your office, security at the bank, at a safe deposit box, whatever.
What I do is I take my records, I put them on a disk, and I back up everything in the computer, and every 6 months I throw I should do it more often, but I throw a new disk in my safe deposit box at the bank.
Sure.
And
I do want to mention, too, that along those lines, again, as far as serial numbers go, some people are kind of concerned about giving their serial numbers to an insurance agent. I just want to clarify, I would never ask you for serial numbers of your firearms. I don't ask you for anything unless there's a claim. You don't have to prove to me. I don't need to keep your inventory, so,
Right. Yeah, and if there is a claim, of course, the serial number is already a matter of public record because it's on the police report.
Right.
So you really don't have to worry about Tom Paluda taking it. You have to worry that it's that the police department takes it. So
exactly.
we have 1 minute to break. Oh, gosh. How do you ask a question and get an answer in 1 minute? One of the things that I did with mine is I save, every now and then when I take a firearm to the range, I save the target, a bullseye target, not a silhouette, so it doesn't look like I'm practicing an assassination. I save the bullseye target. I cut it down so it fits in my file, and I write the serial number of the gun, the date, the time, the conditions, and when I filed my claim, they